Why sitting with yourself after heartbreak is one of the bravest things that you'll ever do, but one of the hardest. So, one of the bravest things you'll ever do after heartbreak is instead of rebounding or jumping into some kind of a distraction, actually sitting with yourself to work through the heartbreak and work through the pain. Not going to the dating apps immediately afterwards, not heading out to the bars or the clubs to go pick somebody up for something very short lived. Maybe it feels good in that moment, but then afterwards, a lot of times you end up feeling a lot worse. So instead of chasing the next relationship or looking for somebody else to make the pain go away or processing your pain through that person by finding some kind of a substitute or a band aid, sitting with yourself to work on what needs healing. And that takes courage. So, if we've never met before, my name is Andrea Hunt, and I'm a Heartbreak the Healing EFT tapping coach. And I help women heal after heartbreak, rebuild their confidence, and create a life that they genuinely love and they deserve. And I know that this is not a popular message, but because when you're heartbroken, a lot of times the first thing we want to do is go seek that validation. We want to seek that comfort that we probably haven't been getting in the relationship for maybe a long time. And it's completely human, but it doesn't really help us in the long term. Okay, so why do we even do that? Well, the thing is that heartbreak is one of the most emotionally painful experiences that we can go through. We already know that. I'm not telling you anything new. But so, of course, when somebody new comes along, they make you laugh, they compliment you, you feel beautiful, you feel flirty, you feel sexy, you feel desired, you feel chosen, you feel like you still got it. They make you feel attractive again and wanted again, alive. And for a little while, it feels like that pain has disappeared. And of course, that's appealing. Who wouldn't want that? The problem is when you're still emotionally raw, your boundaries are often much lower than you realize. You ignore things or you overlook things that you normally wouldn't. Maybe you move faster than you normally would because your judgment is a little bit clouded. And you might even overlook red flags because you're so relieved and happy and overjoyed to feel something other than that pain, that loss, that heartbreak. And so sometimes you're not even choosing that person, you're choosing that feeling that they're giving you. And those are two very different things. So, why does sitting with ourselves matter? So, healing asks something incredibly brave and incredibly hard of you, to stay with the loneliness, to sit with the grief, to sit with yourself, to sit in that pain instead of pushing it away, instead of masking it, instead of avoiding it, to sit with that uncertainty, that confusion, to work through it, what happened, to understand your role. Not forever. This is not forever like a long-term thing in your life. This is just to try to understand where you are right now so you can move forward. Because if you sit long enough to begin healing instead of escaping, you can learn to comfort yourself. You can learn to choose yourself. You can learn to regulate your emotions, to understand those wounds. What were they tied to? Were these wounds tied to your attachment style, tied to something that happened in childhood, tied to that familiar feeling that maybe you got from your caregivers? So you stop needing somebody to rescue you from that pain. You start thinking about what you are as a person at your core, moving through this and moving out of this pain and this experience. So that's when dating becomes different whenever you decide that you're ready to do it again. You're no longer looking for somebody to fill this hole in your life, to complete you from that hole that the other person left. You're looking for somebody who adds to your life, somebody who complements you. And that's a very different place and a foundation to build a relationship on, if that's where you're going in the future. So people often think about healing that it's about becoming stronger. But I think it's also about becoming more comfortable in your own company so that you know what you want. You're never going to settle. And you're not so thirsty for love and for attention that you're going to drink from any poison cup. And that's often the place that we operate from after a heartbreak. And we might tend to rebound into something that might hurt us long term. So you start making those choices and choosing somebody and dating from a place of self-respect and self-love and self-acceptance. And that's where everything begins to change. So, if you're learning about how to be with yourself again after heartbreak or after a long breakup or long relationship or just divorce, I'd love to invite you to my free upcoming 3-day Heartbreak to Healing workshop, August 25th, 6th, and 7th. And we'll talk about why heartbreak affects us so deeply, how to regulate your emotions, rebuild your confidence, and create a life that you don't need to escape from or avoid. Registration will be opening soon, so stay tuned, and I'd love to have you join us. Stay tuned. See you there.